Welcome to this explainer. Today we're unpacking a pretty massive paradox. I mean, think about it. How does a brand achieve absolutely massive scale, literally becoming a household name, without playing by any of the usual corporate rules? Well, we're deconstructing Amul's frugal marketing machine. And trust me, this is a masterclass that's going to make you completely rethink how a business communicates.
Okay, let's dive into this. If you look at your standard fast-moving consumer goods giant, the established rule of thumb is that they're spending anywhere between 7 to 12% of their total revenue just on advertising. But Amul, they famously spend less than 1%. Seriously, less than 1%. And with that tiny fraction, they've built one of the most recognizable and trusted brands in the world. How is that even mathematically possible?
So to figure out how they pull this off, we're going to systematically deconstruct this frugal marketing paradox into 5 distinct pillars. We've got 1, the power of one brand; 2, mastering the moment; 3, affordability as a strategy; 4, winning the blue ocean; and finally 5, the farmer-owned engine.
All right, let's start with our first pillar, the power of one brand.
So the standard corporate playbook, the one used by massive competitors like Unilever, relies heavily on fragmented sub-brands. You've got Dove for soap, Axe for deodorant, Lipton for tea, right? And every single one of those requires its own independent, massive marketing budget. But Amul? They use a unified umbrella strategy. Whether we're talking about everyday milk, premium chocolates, or even frozen pizzas, it's all marketed under one single name. Because that one name already carries absolute trust, they save a fortune on new product launches.
And they tie all of those totally different products together with one iconic, unified tagline, the taste of India. This is just brilliant positioning. It takes Amul from being just another dairy company and turns it into an integral piece of the national identity. If you're a marketer, you know that's the ultimate moat, when your brand literally becomes synonymous with home.
Which brings us right into our second pillar, mastering the moment.
This whole thing centers around what is actually the longest-running advertising campaign in the world, featuring the famous Amul girl. The strategy here is known as topical advertising. Basically, they use their mascot and these witty, hand-drawn cartoons to comment on current affairs. Honestly, whether it's a huge political shift, a Bollywood blockbuster, a major sports win, or a literal space mission, Amul is right there with a clever cartoon. They're leveraging a 50-year-old heritage, but they aren't just repeating the past. They're using it to stay incredibly culturally relevant right now.
And this brilliantly illustrates how they've modernized that heritage for today's digital-first world. Just look at their speed. 0 hours, a major cultural event breaks. Within 12 hours, a witty ad is totally conceptualized and drawn up. And by hour 24, it hits Instagram and X. Because the content is so fast, relevant, and funny, it trends entirely organically. The internet literally does their distribution for them, entirely for free.
Okay, let's shift our focus to pillar number 3, affordability as a strategy.
So, what exactly happens when a company saves all that marketing money? Well, they dominate. Amul holds a staggering 85% market share in butter alone. 85%. The entire rest of the market is left fighting over this tiny 15% sliver. And this absolute dominance is the direct result of their low-margin, high-volume pricing model. By keeping their prices incredibly affordable, they essentially lock in massive middle-class and rural populations.
Now you might be wondering, how on earth do they survive on such low margins? Well, it's a genius cross-subsidization model. They use their super cheap everyday staples like basic milk to pull you into their ecosystem. Once you're relying on Amul milk every day, you just naturally start picking up their higher margin niche products, things like flavored lassi, probiotic yogurt, or premium chocolates. So the everyday staples basically pay the entry fee, and the premium items are what bring in the hard profits.
Which perfectly sets up pillar 4, winning the blue ocean.
Fast forward to their 2026 strategy. To fight off stagnation in their traditional categories, Amul launched this Blue Ocean distribution initiative, and they hit an unbelievable 93% availability rate on quick commerce platforms like Blinkit and Zepto. They're actually setting up dedicated distribution lines specifically for low-penetration niche items like frozen snacks and getting them into urban homes in literal minutes.
The consumer psychology going on here is just brilliant. Step 1. A customer opens an app planning just to order a basic 50-rupee milk pouch. Step 2. Maybe to hit a minimum order value, or just because they see a prompt, they effortlessly toss some high-margin cheese into their basket. Amul is treating that cheap milk pouch as a strategic behavioral wedge. It's totally a Trojan horse. Once that milk is in the cart, the friction to buy premium products just vanishes.
And finally, we arrive at our 5th pillar, the farmer-owned engine.
So the crucial point to remember here is the number 80%. This is not just some dry supply chain metric. This is literally the beating heart of Amul. Because they operate on a 3-tier cooperative model, they eliminate corporate middlemen completely. And because of that, they return an astonishing 80% of the consumer rupee directly back to the farmers.
This pro-producer model isn't just logistics, it's the emotional core of their brand. It cuts out the middlemen, returns hard profits to the farmers, and directly supports local Indian agriculture. And Indian consumers fiercely value this. They know for a fact that when they buy Amul, their money isn't just disappearing into some faceless corporate entity, it's going straight into the hands of the farmer.
So let's pull all of this together and resolve that paradox we started with. It's like a giant puzzle where every piece just fits perfectly. Their umbrella brand creates instant trust. Their topical advertising gives them this massive viral reach with almost zero ad spend. Their low-cost pricing guarantees absolute market dominance. And their blue ocean distribution strategy has driven a mind-blowing 400% growth in niche categories like chocolates. Every single piece of this frugal machine relies entirely on the others to work. Which leaves us with one final provocative thought. If returning 80% of revenue to the actual producers builds an unbeatable 85% market share, are modern corporations completely overvaluing their massive ad budgets while totally undervaluing the power of their own supply chains? It really makes you rethink the whole traditional corporate marketing playbook, doesn't it? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I hope it sparks some great ideas for you. Catch you next time.